in the seed may persist in the seed, that kind of seed is called endospermic seed. That is bit one. Or albuminous seed. As found in most monocot and in dicot seed such as castor. And another type of seed that is found in which endosperm is completely used by the growing embryo. So endosperm material is very less or no at all, totally absent at all. That kind of seed are called X albuminous seed or non-endospermic seed, which is found in most dicot. And this combination or endospermic seed is found in most monocot and in castor. You just remember these two type of seeds. Rather in the next class, I will proceed to different kind of seeds. After fertilization, second important event that is produced is embryo, which takes place after endosperm formation. Remember always, in case of double fertilization, first endosperm formation occurs, then embryo formation occurs. Endosperm or the food material is first formed so as to provide nutrition to this growing embryo. Now see how this embryo formation occurs. This is a single cell, that is you can single cell, not single cell, that is a embryo sac. Embryo sac in which the cell that is present here represented as central cell, which already participate in the fertilization, in which nucleus ploidy is 3N, in which this cell contribute endosperm formation. And the second fertilization, this is the egg cell fertilization. This egg cell fertilization then proceed to the formation of embryo, which takes place in these following steps. This fertilization of the egg cell results in formation of the cell that is called zygote. And the zygote undergoes several stages to form the embryo. The process of formation of embryo from this zygote is called embryogen. Which is similar to both dicot and monocot. During embryogen, first cellular structure that is formed is zygote. Next, this two cell structure that is formed is proembryo. Next, this round structure, the embryo that is formed, this round cell structure that is formed after proembryo formation is the globular embryo, which is so named due to the presence or due to the formation of this globular or the spherical cell structure. Then thereafter, this structure represents heart-shaped embryo. So these are the structure. These are the different stages in the embryogeny. First is zygote, then proembryo, then globular, then heart-shaped embryo, then advanced stages. See here, after the heart-shaped embryo, this structure is found in case of dicot, and this structure is found in case of monocot. First, we will move to this dicot. Dicot are those seeds in which two cotyledons are the present. In case of dicot seed, it comprises of two structures. First is cotyledons and second is embryonal axis. First of all, we will move to the cotyledon structure in case of dicot. I am already told this figure represents as that of in dicot seed. The two cotyledons are here one cotyledon C1, here one cotyledon C2. These are the two cotyledons in case of dicot seed. And this embryonal axis represented by this figure. I am represented by this dot, in which the tip of this embryonal axis is here, which is called plumule. Which is called plumule. Plumule is the tip of embryonal axis. Repeat, I am repeating. Pay attention, everybody. Plumule is the tip of embryonal axis, which represents terminal bud of the first bud in the plant. That is, which represent terminal bud of the first bud of the plant. And the lower part of the embryonal axis is represented by here. That is radicle. That is radicle, which will develop to from root system. And this radicle is surrounded by here root cap. Root cap. This is the lower part, this is the upper part. Upper part, I am repeating this one. This is plumule or the apical part or the terminal part of the embryonal axis, which represent first bud of the plant, whereas the lower part of the terminal axis represent the radicle, which will develop root system, which is surrounded by a protective cover that is called root cap. The plumule has no covering structure and is exposed, and the radicle is covered by the root cap. The portion of the embryonal axis here, this part of the portion of the embryonal axis present above the cotyledon is called epicotyl. Whereas the portion of the embryonal axis present below the cotyledon, this part, represent hypocotyl. You can conclude the terminal part of hypocotyl is radicle, which is surrounded by a root cap, and the terminal part of epicotyl has a plumule. You can see this epicotyl and hypocotyl is another diagram. See here. Suppose these are the two cotyledons in which this is an embryonal axis that is present in between the two cotyledons. The upper part is called plumule, and the lower part here is called radicle, which is surrounded by this part is called root cap. Here one cotyledon says C1, another cotyledon says C2. The part of the embryonal axis here, which is present above the cotyledon, this structure is called epicotyl. The part of the embryonal axis present below the cotyledon is called hypocotyl. Over, this is about diagram of the dicot structure, which takes place after embryogeny. That is, after this much progression, then advance to this. In case of monocot, same embryogeny structure occurs. then this structure formation. So I am representing this one right now. In case of monocot, after this embryo chain changes, it changes to here. In case of monocot, in case of monocot seed, there is a presence of single cotyledon. In grass family, the single cotyledon is called scutellum, which is represented by the embryonal axis present at one side. This is total part in the embryonal axis. This is the embryonal axis. This embryonal axis comprises of following region. The part of the embryonal axis present in the upper part is called plumule, or the terminal part is called plumule, which is surrounded by leafy or the foliar structure, hollow leafy foliar structure, that is called coleoptile. This coleoptile, this entire structure is the coleoptile, which comprises of large number of small leaf primodia. Leaf primodia are those structures from which the leaf develops. This entire part is a hollow, leafy or hollow leaf-like, small leaf-like structures. This is called coleoptile, which gives protection to this plumule part. Whereas the lower part of the embryonal axis here is represented by radicle. Its lower part, root cap, and then its lower part undifferentiated sheath, which is called coleorhiza. The part of the cotyledon, the part of the embryonal axis present above the cotyledon, this is called epicotyl, and this is what lower part is called hypo. You see, now we'll move to the seed and then to the fruit. Seed represent fertilized ovule. See, in this figure, the swelling structure located in the basal part of the stigma or the pistil. This is the entire figure of pistil, in which basal swollen part is called ovary, which encloses ovule. This is ovule. This ovule changes to seed after fertilization, in which these two are the integuments. This is here and drawn here. This is here. Integuments form the seed coat. This the seed coat comprises of, this is here, outer part of the seed coat, that is testa, and the inner part of seed coat, that is tegment. So testa and tegment are the two integuments of the seed coat. There is a small hole through which the pollen tube enters. That hole is called micropyle. Micropyle also persists in case of seed, through which water and air moves inside for the growing embryo through this hole. Within this ovule or within this seed, these structures, these are the structures, these are called nucellus. In most of the seeds, this nucellus is used up or get destroyed. And the center part, there is embryonal axis. In a seed, the different structures that are present are seed coat, and then cotyledon, and then embryo. So seed coat, I have already told, seed coat developed from this integument, cotyledon, maybe two, maybe one, and the embryo develops from the fertilized zygote. So depending this seed is further classified into two types, mainly depending upon the endosperm content. If the endosperm content persists, these are called endospermic seed. I've already told about this one. And if the endosperm is used up on the growing embryo in such a way that the endosperm may not persist in the cotyledon, these are called non-endospermic seed. And another kind of seed, a typical seed, and another kind of seed in which this nucellar structure persists. This nucellar structure persists, and this condition is called perisperm. Perispermic seed are those seeds in which the nucellus persists, as found in black pepper, beets, etc. etc. Now the seed may remain the period of dormant or may get active. Dormant is that condition in which the embryo unable to grow. The seed may remain in the dormant or may germinate. During dormant condition, water content in the seed is reduced. Oxygen passes slowly in it. That is totally all the unfavorable condition of the seed to germinate. This kind of condition is called dormancy. Dormancy can be overcome if the cause of dormancy is removed out. In some dormant seed, the seed coat is become very hard and tough, which do not allow any substance to pass through it. So if you remove this seed coat, then dormancy can be over. Another kind of seed, that is a seed can germinate. That is a seed can germinate if they are getting enough water and oxygen, then the embryo will grow out from the seed. That is a germinating seed. Germinating seed is a reverse condition as that of dormant seed. Now we will move to another topic, that is fruit. Fruit represent mature ovary. So this is ovary. When it gets mature, it changes to fruit. As we know, this fruit encloses, this structure is the ovule, which after fertilization changes to seed. Thus, you can conclude that the fruit encloses seed. Ovule changes to seed after fertilization. So after fertilization, then only the fruit is found. These fruit are different types. Big one, true fruit, are those fruit in which the ovary is the edible part. Big, second big, false fruit. See this one. Usually, the flower grow on the swelled basal part, that is called thalamus. Thalamus, which bear the entire weight of the flower. This thalamus comprises of the four different holes that are present on the thalamus are: first is calyx, next corolla, next these are the androecium, or the third hole or the male reproductive hole, and next that is pistil. That is the female reproductive hole. These four holes grow on this thalamus. This is the ovary which changes to fruit. Sometimes what happens? In some fruit, this thalamus enlarge and encircle the ovary. Thus, thalamus contribute the edible portion of the fruit. Such kind of fruit are called false fruit. In case of false fruit, the edible portion becomes other plural part, such as thalamus, as found in apple. In case of apple, this is the stalk that is here, and the red color portion. This is here. This red color portion is the thalamus. We often consume this part. So when the thalamus becomes edible part, this is considered as a false fruit. So does in case of pear. This is stalk which bear and the tip part persistent dry sepals. Okay. So when this thalamus become an edible part or any other plural part become edible other than ovary, such kind of fruits are called false fruit. In some other fruits, fruit is formed without fertilization. That kind of fruit is called parthenocarpic fruit. Parthenocarpic fruit are those fruit which is formed without fertilization. If it is formed without fertilization, so in them the seed formation do not take place. So there is absence of seed in them, such as in case of banana, in case of tomato, etc. So in this type of fruit, the edible portion is very high. In case of banana, the black structure that is present inside it represent unfertilized ovule. I am repeating, parthenocarpic fruit are those fruit which are formed without fertilization. The fruit is further classified into two types. First is fleshy fruit, in which the outermost part of the ovary, or that is the fruit, is called pericarp. When this pericarp becomes fleshy, that is, it gets differentiated into upper epicarp, middle mesocarp, and innermost endocarp, then that kind of fruit is called fleshy fruit. As found in mango. In mango, the pulp, which is the edible part, represented by mesocarp. If the pericarp is not differentiated, then it is called dry fruit. In case of dry fruit, the pericarp is not differentiated into any layer, rather it is represented by a thin layer covering structure. So depending upon nature of the pericarp, the fruit is of two types. One is fleshy, another is dry fruit. In case of fleshy fruit, the pericarp is differentiated into epi, meso, and